that. Otherwise, YouTube won't like that. They'll think there's some copyright issue or something. Just hold on a second while we are pulling that up. Here we go. Zoom, 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 zoom. Let's go back to my trading room. Okay, here we go. Done redirecting. That. Okay. Otherwise, YouTube won't like. Yep. Look at that. See the delay? That's it. We're in. We are in. We are broadcasting live on YouTube. YouTube Live. All right. And now we just got to hit the record button. There we go. We're all set to go. Good evening, folks. Welcome to another edition of DayTradeSPY.com's Weekend Review. And my name is Hugh. And my beautiful dog Lucy, who is now deceased, but anyway, that's several months ago. But all right, today is June the 8th, 2025. Yes, I miss her terribly. Okay, just a reminder, folks, you'll find a little question and answer box right there on the on your Zoom dashboard. Click on that. I am the only one that sees that, so go ahead and see whatever you want. We'll certainly try and address all your questions a little bit later on here in the session. I'm going to try and keep it down to an hour so I don't hold you overnight long after that. I keep saying that every weekend. Sometimes, somehow we end up in, an hour and 10 minutes, hour and 20 minutes, something like that. But we're going to try and move it along, all right? Okay. Da-da-da-da-da. Okay. When will the trading room schedule be released? It should be released already, is it not? If it's not released now, Robert, it will be soon, okay? Right after the session. I thought it was released, but maybe it isn't. Okay, I'll have to take a look. Anyway, we'll get to that a little bit later on here. So, all right. I'm just looking to see if maybe we should release that now. Should we go back to that? No, we'll have to do that after the session. I'll give you a few seconds to read this, folks. This is the disclaimer, keeps the lawyers happy. While I take a drink. All right, you alone are responsible for all your own trading, and past performance does not guarantee future results. I think you know that. You alone are responsible for your own trading, and I see that the light situation is a little bit off here with the background. That's a live window feed, and what I'm going to do is close the blinds so that you can see the light more on me rather than on the window in the back there through the magic of remote blinds. We can do this. There we go. All right, we should be good to go here. Stop that. All right. All right, we're cooking. We're cooking. So here's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to discuss last week, and then we're going to do a little bit of a poll. What's wrong with that thing? Stopped yet? All right, here we go. And then we're going to take a look at the upcoming week here, and also give you a 2-minute tutorial, do a little Q&A, and your next steps to trading success on the stock market, which is what I love to do. So first of all, just want to introduce myself. My name is Hugh, and learned the stock. First of all, let me know if you are new online. Put in the questions box if you are new, so we can give you a bit of a shout out, or at least acknowledge that you're there. So okay. Anyway, okay, a lot of good comments already coming in here. So, and good evening, St. Louis. Okay, so early years I spent in the trenches. That's where I learned all of pretty well most of what I learned how to trade. All right, I didn't have the benefit of a Hugh or anything else that. I mean, we had a couple of friends that hung around, and we started learning this stuff on our own. Very costly to do it that way. Is my hair up? I think my hair is messed up. Very costly to do that way. But that's where you learn the hard lessons from the trenches, deep in the the times when you get burned. And I had a lot of losses along the way. Don't kid yourself. Had a lot of losses, had some wins, celebrated the wins, learned from the losses. Every time I lost money, I would always go back and try and learn from it and see what is it that I did wrong, or could I have done better, or what did I miss? Was I too anxious? Was I too aggressive? Did I get out too soon, too late, whatever it was? I tried to identify my errors, and then try to correct my errors. And eventually, if you correct your errors, there's nothing left but to make money, right? So one of the things I'm going to recommend to you is that just go back and look at your logs. You are keeping logs, right? And go back and find that one thing that's really messing you up a lot. Just see if you can work on that one thing that is really giving you problems. And if you can solve that one thing, you'll probably find that your fortune will turn around right away. If of course you are experiencing some losses. I imagine that many of you are experiencing some very good wins too, right? Some gains. Anyway, over the years, I started developing a pretty good system that worked well for me, and people noticed, and they started coercing me to teach them. So that's when things started. That was back in 2010. I cannot believe we're in our 16th year already, and I'll never forget because this whole thing started by accident, as a lark, as a fluke, as a whatever you want to call it. We never took it seriously, and we figured that it's not going to last. Oh yeah, it lasts a couple weeks, maybe a month. It'll fizzle out. Nothing's said. But before we knew it, the whole thing ballooned into what it is today. And Eagle Financial Products brought us out a couple years ago, and they hired us on, and we're still going strong. And as long as they want us, we'll be here. So that's kind of the way it works. And of course, good Lord willing, we'll be here. And as long as I have a breath in me, I'll be here. That's kind of the way I look at it. So anyway, real deal, folks. Trading internationally since 2010. That's a long time. Looking for short-term breakout trades. That's my objective. Now, my partner in crime is John Johnson. He has a background in law. And oh, where did it go? Where did it go? John Johnson. Okay, why are we not seeing his bio? There it is. There's the guy. All right. His background is in law. Yes, he's a lawyer. He's a lawyer, and he left commercial litigation, oil and gas in particular. Very successful career. I got to add to that. So he left that to be a trader. To be a trader. Now that says a lot for trading, doesn't it? Um, when you think about it, he's probably spent a lot of years. Not probably, he did. He spent a lot of years, I'm sure. Learning law and articling and all the other things that he had to do to become a lawyer. And of course, he practiced, and then he left law to be a trader. He developed his own unique style, but over 21 years ago, he's been teaching people, thousands of people, giving them success in the markets. He's highly acclaimed. He's been in many publications and media. He's been quoted very, very often. His philosophy is basically take what the market gives you. If the market gives you a dime at a time is just fine. All right, it gives you 20 cents, 30 cents, whatever. Just take it. Take it. You're never going to go bankrupt by taking profits. And that's a really, really good philosophy. Short-term trades, right? So his approach and my approach are very similar. The thing is, he has a different set of indicators that he uses than I do, and I have a different set of indicators, obviously, than he does. So if we see a setup, and I say the market's going to go up, and he says, you know what, I think the market's going to go up, it's probably going to go up. You might want to buy call options. And we only trade SPY all the time. And it seems to be working very well for us. So, all right, that's it for the introductions. I think most of you anyway have seen us before. We do the trading room together, John and myself, and we have a good time every morning. We get together and about 9:15, 9:20, we log on and we assess the market. I'll talk a little bit about that later on, trading room. And 9:30 opening bell, we start to moving along and making money. Every day we make several trades, sometimes five or six, seven trades, and it's been going quite well. So, folks, Spy in the Market newsletter. All right, newsletter comes out every Thursday. Make sure that you get in on this. It's free. It's just a brief 3-minute read. Light, relevant, and entertaining. Subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, go to www.daytradespy.com. When the pop-up comes up, leave us your email address. That'll get you on. And if you don't want the subscription, but you still want to read these things, go to our website, which is interestingly enough, www.daytradespy.com. And up at the top left corner, you'll see Spy on the Market. Click on that. That will give you all the newsletters that we had written in the last couple of years, whatever. This week's topic, what happens when you deviate? When you deviate from your plan, right? When you deviate from your trade, what happens when you deviate? All right, this week is going to be an interesting week. In a couple of days, I'm going to be boarding that big white bird and flying out to Palm Springs, California. Oasis of Liberty, Freedom Fest 2025. It's going to be at the convention center. Massive convention. And John and I are going to be out there. We are actually hosting a paid live trading breakfast. So what's going to happen on Friday the 13th? Okay, two trading room sessions, folks. Our usual trading room session, which we're going to have to get up at about 5 in the morning. Oh, I'm not looking forward to that. Not looking forward to. I think what I'm going to do is because we're only going to be there for a short period of time, relatively speaking. I'm going to stay on Eastern time and just, go to bed early. Go to bed at 7 or 8 o'clock and get up at 5 in the morning and just do the trading room. And then we're going to do it all over again at the Freedom Fest, which is going to be at 8 o'clock in the morning, which is going to be that's local time, which is going to be 11 o'clock on the Eastern side. So we're going to basically finish one session and start the next. It's going to be a live event. Listen, if you're going to be down that way in California at all, Palm Springs area, please drop by, say hi. We've got a booth over there. You'll see the Eagle Financial Publications booth. We're going to be manning the booth, and John and I are going to be there as well. June the 11th to the 14th is when Freedom Fest is going to be on. That's Wednesday through the Saturday. All right, Wednesday through the Saturday. Now I am flying in on the Wednesday evening. I'm sure I'll be there, and I'll be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and heading out on Sunday. And it's going to be an all-day affair on Sunday, Father's Day. So, all right. And I'm also going to be missing my wife's birthday, which is on Thursday. But I will, I'm sure, be talking to her on Thursday, wishing her happy birthday. She's actually taking a little trip to Florida with some family members, so it'll be an interesting kind of a thing. So no doubt we're gonna go for dinner before that, and of course celebrate after. Anyway, here's what happened last week, folks. Taking a look at the markets last week. Monday, steel stocks surged on tariff news. Trump said, 50% on steel and aluminum, everything. 50%, we're going to give it to them. We're going to make America great. We're going to get workers back. We're going to have the factories like we had 50 years ago. Anyway, that sent steel stocks surging on tariff news, sent SPY to start the month up on a high note, tested 593, and then pulled back a little bit in post-market activity. On Tuesday, the market brushed off the China-U.S. concerns with Nvidia leading the big gains on chip stocks, placed the Nasdaq back in positive territory, spinning off a rise in SPY, topped off at 597 as we headed back up. Wednesday, the stocks ended up mixed. SPY rose fractionally as investors awaited concrete developments on the trade front and digested those weaker than forecast employment data that come out on Wednesday. On Thursday, a bit of a mixed bag there too. We had some pretty wild swings Thursday as the Trump-Musk feud. He really heated up, and they're going back and forth and slinging mud at each other. And the big one, Trump was seen with Epstein, and oh my Lord, here we go. SPY declined right down to the mid 591s and after-market trading. But by Friday, things had settled down a little bit. S&P 500 reclaimed 6,000 for the first time since February as the U.S. added more jobs than forecast, and Tesla also rebounded from the sell-off. I believe Tesla dropped 14% or something on Thursday, then rose 5% on Friday. Don't quote me on those numbers, but it was something like that anyway. It was pretty nasty, and they're still fighting. The bromance is over. The bromance is over. Trump has no intentions of speaking to Elon ever again. Okay. Little boys and their toys. Is that the same? That's funny because I was talking to a friend of mine. I we're over at my friend's place and we're chatting about some of this stuff. I said, Nick, I don't know if Nick's listening. I don't think he's on, but I said, those guys. I said, Nick, you and I have something they will never have. They have it all. You think they have it all, but there's one thing they don't have, and I don't think they will ever have. He said, what's that, Hugh? I said, enough. They will never have enough, you know. And it's an interesting feud actually. You kind of wonder whose points are valid, why they're doing what they're doing. But anyway, we'll talk about that a little later on. So here's a look at the seasonals. For those who are not familiar, the blue line is where SPY is now. And you can see it's been a pretty wild ride here, but basically the upswing here since the last few weeks. The red line is the average of the last 5 years' daily closing price. And as we zero in historically, SPY rose more than 9 points from last week, and it dropped 5 points for the following week. So we're going to see where it goes. It's not to say we're going to follow it along again, but if history repeats itself, it should be an interesting week coming up. Do we continue with the momentum or do we take a little bit of a drop? We'll see what happens. Last week, both the economy and markets showed resilience. The markets rebounded impressively. Despite signs of cooling, jobs data reported better than forecast, reducing concerns of a slowdown. There's not much talk of recession lately. Global equities hit recent new highs, up 20% from April's lows, supported by strong fundamentals. As we've seen, we just finished some earnings season here. Trade tensions eased. Recent earnings, especially from the mega cap techs, support the rally. As a matter of fact, we've seen record earnings here. So Q1 earnings wrapped up underscored corporate strength, but risks remain with trade and policy uncertainty. Looks like it's just a broken record as it continues to see the same words over and over again. Uncertainty, tariffs deadlines. A lot of countries were supposed to have submitted their their trade goals or whatever they're waiting for, and I don't think many of them did. So we'll see what happens. Fed rate decisions and debt ceiling. That's all still on the table for as far as risk is concerned. Volatility may remain hot, but fundamentals provide a strong foundation. And we've got some testing. Normally, we don't see testing in the summer, but this summer is a little bit different, a little bit unique. We're going to see testing on the recent momentum. That might shape the market's direction for the second half of this year. That was last week, and this is what some of the charts look like here. Hiring slows, but still enough to hold unemployment steady. Changes in non-farm payroll, 3-month average. This graph shows the number of job gains, though having slowed, but they still remain above the pace needed to keep unemployment steady. So you can see how we're still holding our own here. All right, things have slowed down, but the whole unemployment rate is not a problem yet. This chart shows earnings estimates. They surpassed prior highs. We're looking at $280 this time around, up from 279 earlier on, and we had a bit of a dip here, but April 2nd tariff announcements had the pull to the downside, but we've come back up here. The graph shows the forward 12-month S&P earnings estimate, which has recently reached a new high. An index is unmanaged, cannot be invested into directly, and is not meant to depict an actual investment. All right, this is the S&P 500. So here's what the numbers shaped up like this last week. The S&P rose 1.5 points for year to date, 2 points to the good, leading the other two indexes, however you want to pronounce it. Dow Jones up 1.2, just year to date up 0.5, and we've got the Nasdaq up 1.1 year to date. They rose 2.2% this term. So, but the S&P is still holding strong. Lots of momentum there. All right, the questions box is wide open. Folks, the Trump-Musk bromance is over the big, beautiful budget, the triple B, right? Big, beautiful budget. Musk is saying, oh my gosh, I'm trying to put the brake on, you're putting the gas on. You're increasing the debt, another $3 trillion. What the heck is going on here? Actually, that's not what he said. He said, "What the hell is going on here?" Right? And Musk is trying to rein it in. Other people say, "Oh, Musk is just a little PO'd because they cut the incentives for electric vehicles and of course Trump is saying, well, it wasn't a problem before when he read the budget. What's the problem now?" And anyway, they're at it. They're at it, and they're throwing publicly airing their differences. So, who do you support? And by the way, Musk is recommending a third party. We got the Democrats, we got the Republicans, and he wants to make what is it called, the Party? The America Party, where 80% of the people would be in the America Party. And who do you support on this? Trump, Musk, or don't know? Let me just go and see what the numbers, what the answers are coming up here. Okay. All right. Musk, Trump, Musk, but don't care about either. Really supporting common sense. Musk, Trump, Trump, Trump. I don't support either. Trump, either. Musk for president. Trump, both. We need to stop the increases. Not fair to our grandchildren. Reducing the debt strengthens the dollar. Bingo, Robert. Bingo on that one here. I don't know. Am I the only one that must the only ones that care about the debt here? Trump, Trump, Musk, Musk. Wow, it's a good mix here. Okay, Trump, 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 Musk, Musk, Trump, Musk, Trump. Neither, neither. Don't like either. Okay, this is not in the chat box, Scott. It's in the questions box. All right, so, but we have a good mix, folks. We have a good mix. John H says, I've been a never Trumper since I first heard about him in the early 70s. Both of them are POSs, pieces of, what would the S be there? I think I'm guessing here. Trump, 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 Musk, 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 Trump, neither, Musk. Talk about a good mix. This is a really good mix. Well, I have no opinion either. You know what? Honestly, I like Musk's idea in that, hey, we got to do something about the debt. I'm trying to reduce the debt, and you're trying to ramp it up. What's going on here? So I'd have to side with Musk on that one. If I had to take the poll, I would probably side with Musk on that one. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I think there's more to the story than we realize. So, but anyway. Let's take a look at the weekend. We just throw that in there for fun, okay? This is a fun thing to see what your thoughts are on this. Very divisive though, isn't it? I mean, the debt is nothing to sneeze over. I mean, and I don't know what happens. What happens when the creditors come knocking on yours? Okay, we want to be paid now. We want to be paid now. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna give us? What are you gonna do? Print money? You can't print money. It doesn't work that way. What are you gonna give us? Puerto Rico, we'll take Hawaii. I don't know. I'm just throwing out that. Monday and Tuesday, low news day. No news, nothing important on Monday or Tuesday. Wednesday, we've got a CPI number, Consumer Price Index, Producer Price Index, and unemployment claims on Thursday. These are high impact numbers. Okay, these are high impact numbers. And on Friday, University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Report, and also University of Michigan Inflation Expectations Report coming up on Friday. As far as volatility is concerned, volatility low on Monday and Tuesday, high on Wednesday and Thursday, and falling back to medium on Friday. Now remember, whenever President Trump speaks, volatility escalates. Volatility escalates. Okay? All right. Our 2-minute tutorial today is the U.S. debt. The U.S. debt. So far, well, this is outdated already. This is outdated second to second to second, actually microsecond to microsecond. As of 4:46 and 34 seconds Eastern Time earlier today, it was at 36 trillion 953 million 530. I don't even know how to even read these numbers. But anyway, those are the numbers and climbing rapidly. USDebtClock.org, an interesting website. I'll bring it up here. Let's just take a look and see. I trust you can see the numbers spinning around here. And then they show you all kinds of things up in here. What these things are. The U.S. national debt outstanding represents the face amount or principal amount of marketable and non-marketable securities currently outstanding. It's growing. The debt per person Debt per person, almost $108,000. Each one of us owes almost $108,000. Debt per taxpayer, $323,000. You pay taxes, you owe 323. Pay up. Come on, folks, pay up. Um, and then we've got all these other numbers. The Doge clock, savings per taxpayer, U.S. federal debt to GDP ratios now sits at 122.95. What does that mean? Does that mean that gross domestic product is 100 and we owe 122, $123 for every 100 that we're making? These aren't good numbers. These should be of concern to everybody here, right? Um, and then of course you get all these other numbers. Whatever you want to find out, go and take a look at this. Is a very interesting website. It's called usdebtclock.org, and that's the address right there, usdebtclock, all one word, .org. Okay, so there we are right there. Anyway, I'm going to move this over, and let's talk a little bit about that. So, big question people ask, well, who do we owe money to? That's a big question. Actually, somebody asked me that. I said, I'll find out for you. I'll find out who we owe money to. We currently owe almost 327 trillion in debt. That's not right. Almost, that's actually not right. I think it's supposed to be 37 trillion in debt. Okay, let's get that right. 37 trillion in debt. We have the highest debt, national debt in the world, folks. And we owe it to domestic and foreign investors, including other countries, internal organizations, and the public. So there's a lot of people that we owe money to. But here's the thing, a quarter of this debt is held by foreign investors, the largest being Japan. You don't hear a lot from Japan, but they hold a lot of our money, a lot of our paper. China, and the UK. You wonder why all this talk about China? Well, they're one of our biggest debtors. Foreign debt is held mostly in treasury securities, largest foreign holder, Japan. They owe over $1 trillion of our paper as of November. It's a lot more than that now. Second largest, China, UK, Luxembourg, Cayman Islands. I think there's a lot of tax-free money down in these areas there. They are holding our paper. So we are indebted to a lot of these other companies. And that's just a few people. There's countries all over the world that are holding our debt. Now, here's the thing. We are paying interest on this debt. $95 billion a month, or works out to about $3 billion daily. $3 billion. How many? I mean, that's unbelievable. What can you do with $3 billion every day? That's how much interest. Annually, we're looking at $1.1 trillion. Now you add another 4,000, or what am I talking about? 3 trillion, 3+ trillion to this debt. What do you think this interest is going to accrue to? This is going to be even much higher, much, much higher. To me, it's scary. It's very scary. It's very scary. Here's what you can do with this kind of an interest payment every month. Never mind every month, every day. Every day. I did a little research, $200 million, actually less than $200 million will build your new hospital. Does that mean we can build we can build 15 hospitals every day for this interest? We can build 15 hospitals on the interest charges? Somebody's got to get this under control. I pity our kids, grandkids. They're the ones that are going to be paying the debt on this, right? They're going to be paying. They're paying. I shudder to think where they're going to be, where that's going. But anyway, this is of interest. This is very concerning to me. All right, and it should be to everybody. But this is what we're doing here. Top foreign owners of U.S. national debt: Japan. They hold 12 point. I guess no, this is as of November of last year. This is a few months old here. All right, this is about a half a year, a little over half a year old. I don't imagine the numbers are gotten any better. In fact, they probably got worse. But Japan, we owe over 1.1 trillion to them. Almost 13%, you can say 13% goes to Japan. China, 9% of our debt goes to China. Same with the UK. Luxembourg, almost 5%. Cayman Islands, 4.6. Um, a lot of money owed to foreigners. Foreigners. So that's why the debt is of concern. That's why Musk is very concerned about the debt. He says, okay, never mind. I don't care about the incentives to EV owners. You know, we got to get the debt under control. And as much as although I was reading as much as he's done so much good work, he's kind of scratched the surface. There's a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. So anyway, beat that to death. Here's our 50K challenge. We started with $5,000 back on January the 6th. We're slowly turning into that $50,000 in 1 year. I'm looking to make a lot more than 50,000. We're over halfway now. We're at 28,164. There's that number right down there. And every day we're just chipping away at it. We're about $2,700 short of where I thought we should be now. Okay, but we are inching towards our goal, and I expect to hit the 50,000 long before the end of the year, and hopefully ramp it up much higher than that. Okay, and there's a graph of where we are. We took some big hits there a while back. There were some really really big hits. All the tariff talk had pushed us right back down, and I guess we didn't make some good calls. We actually jumped in when we shouldn't have, and made a few mistakes like that. But we're trading along. We're coming back up very nicely. We're making some pretty good gains here, making some very very good gains. So I'm very very happy about it. All right. Well, moving along here. I'm going to get to the questions a little bit, but I want to tell you about some of the things that we have for you. In that we have some really good services for you, right? These are programs that we have to help you become a great trader. Now, not everybody can be in the trading room and learn. Not everybody wants to learn. Some people tell us, in fact, one of the most popular programs we have, two of the most popular programs are the Day Trade Spy Signal and the Pick of the Day. People want to be told what to trade. Now, at first, when we kind of brought that up, I was a little surprised at that. I thought, "Oh, don't you think everybody wants to learn?" But as it turns out, for whatever reason, no, they just want to be told what's a good option to buy. And so we thought, okay, we can give you that. We can give you the heavy lifting. Now, there's a couple programs we have. One is the Day Trade Spy Signal, which is an algorithm. This is an algorithm-based program, and it's going to trigger 3 to 5 times a week. We get the trigger on this one here. This is actually a particular option. It is sent to your cell phone as a text message. The idea here is to buy it right when you get the message. So within the first 2 minutes, buy it, immediately put it up for sale for 5% target price, okay? You want to get a 5% or higher. And those who know what to do, those who've gone through our training, they know how to make a lot more than 5%, okay? But we just use that as the standard by which to measure success, okay? So put up for sale, and if you don't get it sold, sell it at market value at the close, all right? Sell it at market at the close. It's been working very well. Although I do admit this last week we had a couple bad hits. For some reason, the market just reversed on us a couple of times this week, so it wasn't as good this week as normally is. But we're still, I think we're just under 90% success rate overall since we started measuring this. So uh, statistically, we are doing extremely well with the Day Trade Spy signal. Now, any of these programs I'm talking about here, you can get them online, all right, at our website, but you can get it usually for cheaper if you simply email customer service at daytradespy.com for the current pricing. Tell them that you want the best price for the signal, the best price, and they'll probably give you a better price than what you're seeing online, all right? Next up, of course, we have the pick of the day, similar to the signal. But instead of some time getting the signal sent to your cell phone, you're going to get it sent to your inbox at 9 o'clock in the morning. All right. And this particular option is designed to be bought right at market open. All right. So you want to wait a few seconds for the bid ask spread to settle it nice and tight. So you have a good price. Make sure it's going your direction with the pressure on the 1 minute charts. So if the option is a call option, you want to make sure that it's pushing to the upside on the 1 minute chart, then you buy, right? Then you buy. These are hand-picked trades. They're not algorithm based. These are not computer generated or anything like that. These are hand-picked by John and myself. We get together every morning. We discuss what the market's looking like it's going to do. Oftentimes, a little longer out rather than the short-term impulsive knee-jerk reaction right after the opening bell. We have a view of the longer-term forecast for these options. Okay, so sometimes you'll see, call options being um, forecast, but the market opens and immediately goes down. Well, you still stay with the calls, right? And just wait until it turns back up, then you want to buy or get it for a cheaper price. So anyway, immediately put up for sale for 6% profit target. And now we need to tell everybody about an exit strategy. And we've been telling people that, well, you can take a 40% loss, you can sell it at the end of the day for the market price, or you can even hold it overnight. In the trading room, we actually discuss these in a big way. And we discuss these and whether we're going to hold them or take the market price at close if it doesn't get your 6% or whatever, or it might even drop it down to well, look for a 5% or whatever it is. But as a rule, you will have it for either a 6% gain or sell it at market close. Okay. All right. So they could be held overnight, however, because they are designed to be longer out in expiration, so you have time. And we do look at these sort of at a longer term macro level. Again, contact customer service at DayTradeSPY for the best pricing. Next up, I'd be remiss if I don't talk about the inner circle. This is where you're going to get the morning market assessments sent to you every morning at 9 o'clock. John has been writing these very comprehensive, very detailed analysis as to where he sees the market going today. Now, we're not smart enough to know where the market's going to go a year from now, 6 months from now, or even a week from now. But we're pretty astute at knowing where the market's going to go today. And John puts this all in writing and sends it down to your inbox at 9 o'clock in the morning. And we also have a follow-up report later in the day as to what we actually did, what the market did, and what we did. In addition, you'll be invited to our Wednesday night weekly meetups. These sessions are excellent because you can actually type in your questions. They are interactive. And it could be anything to do with trading SPY options. All right, anything you do, and nothing is off the table. If you're not familiar with options, you can ask on Wednesday night. If you're a beginner, if you're a little more advanced, but you want a chart setup, so you want to look at chart patterns or whatever, you can ask these questions, and Sean will answer them for you. He also talks a lot about what happened during the day. He's very, very, very comprehensive in his analysis, and he gets into some pretty good detail with Fibonacci and Andrew's pitchfork and these kinds of things. So you can learn a lot from the inner circle, just from the inner circle alone. And I'll tell you, the membership is, oh my gosh. If don't have the numbers, Sandy. I did look at numbers earlier today for the show special at Freedom Fest, and shaking my head and saying, "Wow, really?" But it's very, very reasonable. All right. I'd even venture to say a cup of coffee a day. All right, so meetups recorded for later review. If you miss them, not a problem. Okay. It's an outstanding way to get started with what we do, especially if you're brand new. You don't want to spend a lot of money and you're not really sure is trading SPY options for you, um, right? This is a great way to get started. And if you are if you're a seasoned trader, it's a great way to stay in the know because we talk about things that are we're like lightning rods with information about this material, and we disseminate this to you in the inner circle, whether it's in the weekly meetups or in the morning market assessment. You're going to be the first to know. It's the most affordable service we have. So Again, contact customer service. They might even, I think if you ask for the show special, you might even get that. I can't promise you, but I'm pretty sure you could probably get a much better price than if you just go to the website. Last but not least, folks, the trading room, our world famous trading room, Day Trade Spy Trading Room. John and I host this every morning. This is where our strategies come alive every morning, 9:20 to 10:30 Eastern Time. All right. And we have our different strategies, OMG, which is short for out of the morning gate, our bread and butter strategies, our scalping strategies, that 5,000 to 50,000 K, that's what we do there as well. This is a learn and earn kind of a program. It's interactive, exciting trading. You can, again, just like this, you can chime in with your questions and comments, and we have fun. We have contests. We do a lot of things. It's a very fast moving, very exciting, and a very informative. It's a very informative kind of a session. We teach what we trade and we trade what we teach. That's all I can tell you. We don't give you all of that theory and all of that stuff, that filler. We don't give you filler. We don't talk about anything else. We don't talk about other stocks, other indexes. We don't talk about other instruments to trade. We don't talk about spreads. And we've done spreads in the past. I don't do spreads anymore. I just do our strategies that just seem to work very well. All right. If you learn a laser beam focused kind of a trading system, learn it very well. Become an expert at one thing. Never mind everything else. I had a question posed to me earlier. What do I think about Tesla? Should I buy Tesla options for call options because the Tesla dropped 14% or something on Thursday. It came up 5% on Friday. It's going to come back even more. And I think I responded something like, if you see an opportunity with Tesla, then take it. If you see an opportunity, I said personally, I don't really delve into any other stocks that way. Um, I mean, I don't want to get in the habit of that because something like Tesla, let's face it, it's really governed by the man at the top, Elon Musk, and his, and I say this in a nice way, his whimsical behavior. When he gets a thought, he wears it on his sleeve, and sometimes I think he speaks, without maybe thinking, too much about what he's saying, and I don't know. I mean, maybe he does, but he's a different animal. But Tesla is going to go to where Elon Musk goes. So, and we'll see. Now, he has a way of moving it up. He has a way of moving it down. So, but anyway, no, we don't get into anything else. We are very laser focused with what we do. Spy options. And I don't talk about, naked trades. Don't talk about any spreads or anything. I've done spreads in the past, and don't get too excited when people talk about making 5% a month. I like to, make a lot more than that. I like to make 5% a day if I can, right? So we trade what we teach. So we only teach you what we trade ourselves every day, and we trade what we teach. So it really works hand in hand. You can get your questions answered in the trading room. And this is the beauty of the trading room. We're at one, right? If you have any questions, it's not a watch you and John trade show. We trade and we narrate our own trades. Of course we do. But, we discuss the setups. We discuss what we're looking for, why we're looking for what we're looking for, why we're looking to get in, what we're looking to get in for, and what we're looking to get out for, and our expected return on investment. We discuss all these things. We set it all up and then it executes. Let me see my notes here from July the 6th, July the 5th. I keep notes on pieces of paper here, right? Can you see this at all? I don't know if I can see it. Just, half piece of paper, both sides, whatever. On July the 6th, which was Friday, we made money on the pick of the day. It was the 598 calls. We made money, let me see, in the OMG trade, picked up 7.6% there in 3 minutes. I did the 280 trade, which is that $50,000 trade. I did one trade there that made $816. I did two trades myself, made some money there in real. So the Thursday signal worked, pick of the day worked, OMG worked. 280 trade, that's the $50,000. We actually did two trades there for a net of $729. Personally made some money. And so we discuss all these in the trade room, and you're going to learn. You're going to learn everything that we do there, right? And if you're nuanced, start with paper trades, and eventually, when you're comfortable, transition to real money. You're going to make some money, folks. We've been doing this since 2010, and again, go to customer service at DayTradeSPY for pricing. But I suspect that you're going to get it for $6.99 for the first 3 months. And I don't know for sure, but I suspect if you get it for $6.99 for 3 months, they will probably grandfather you into that. Again, don't quote me on that, but I know they've been very generous with their offerings at Eagle Financial. I can't see how you can afford not to subscribe to this. If you are serious at all about learning how to trade options, this is where you should be. Our trading room, okay? Trading room. All right, beat that to death. This guy's telling us to go down there. Can you afford not to subscribe? Questions, questions, questions. Let me go to the top here. All right, let me just see here. Do you think the riots in LA can have an effect on the market? No. No, I don't think the riots are gonna. That's a localized kind of an issue, and even that it's spread into New York or wherever. That's not an economy kind of a thing. It's more of a border security and policy and stuff. That's not going to have any impact on the stock market. Um, from a local standpoint, maybe people are going to they're not going to trade if they're in LA or something. I don't know. Um, it's crazy. I don't know how you feel about that, but I think if you're here legally, get legal, get advice. You can't. You know what? I shudder to think that if we were to go illegally into some of these other countries, Iraq, Iran, and if we were running around illegally there and they round us up and say, "What are you doing here?" I don't think they would be as nice to us as we are to them. I don't want to try it, and I don't know anybody who has, but I've heard some horror stories. And yes, Robert, thank you for the reminder. I'm going to check into the trading room, make sure that the links are sent out. I thought they would have been already, but maybe they haven't been. So I'll have to take a look and see where the snag is on that one here. All right, Mark J received the Day Trade Spy swag. Thanks so much. Now I can feel officially a member. Yeah, okay. So we have this. We're in the middle of actually, we just started last week our masterclass series, and we have series session number 2 coming up tomorrow. Normally, the series is Tuesday late morning. And But this week we're holding our second session tomorrow, and the following week we are holding our session on Wednesday instead of Tuesday because we are coming back. We're going to be away at the Freedom Fest event, so we're not going to have a chance to prepare and get ready for all that. So next week will be this week will be tomorrow for those in the master class, and the following week will be the 18th, which is Wednesday. That's when session number 3, which is actually a lab, that's going to be for the master class. All right. Okay. Hi, Hugh. Yes, Lucy is watching over you. Um, I know this is a reminder too. There's going to be no Sunday night meeting next week because we're going to be traveling back from Palm Springs, California. So, in fact, we're going to be flying during the session, and I'm not sure if I can do the session from the plane. I probably can, but I don't think I can give you all this PowerPoint stuff, on a cell phone or even on a laptop. It'll be pretty tough. So we're just gonna relax and come back and pick it up the following week. So, Phil wishes all my friends in LA good luck, stay safe. Okay. Here's a question from somebody here. When taking profits, how did you come up with the 6% or like 5% or 10% instead? Okay, so you have to have a number, some kind of a standard by which to measure success, right? I don't know about you, but when I started learning this stuff, I started going to all these different webinars and training classes and sessions and different things. And I would scratch my head at some of these people, and I would just shake my head at things. And they would do a trade, and it would go up 3 cents. And they say, "Oh, good, it went up 3 cents. We were right. It's a success." And I'd always sit back and say, "Well, no, pal, it's not a success because I would have sold it with a 3 cent profit, right? I'd want to make a lot more than that, or somewhat more than 3 cents. What is that? What's that? Covers your commission, maybe." So we did a lot of testing. Whenever we come up with these strategies, all right, I want you to understand something. We we don't we don't come up with these strategies willy-nilly. We do a lot of testing, a lot of testing. And then we do more testing. And whenever, and if something's not right, all right, we find out why, what happened, we fix it, we dump it, whatever we do, we don't, we're not going to introduce anything to you that has not been proven. Okay. So we had found that on these various programs, like in the pick of the day, 6% is good. On the day trade spy signal, 5% is oftentimes reachable, usually reachable. We've also determined that a lot of these you can hold overnight because we build in enough time, right? Time is not on your side with the way we trade. But by building enough time, your theta loss, which is your time loss, it's not going to be that great. So we the options that we that we supply for you to trade generally have enough time that you can hold overnight if you need to. And if you take our training and in the trading room, you'll generally find that you'll know how to make a lot more than 6% or 5%. In fact, most people do much, much better than those numbers that I quoted you. But that's what we use to measure our success. And in so many, I would say in most cases, if you just stay with the trade, you'll definitely make more than 5 or 6%. Okay, so Ken McD, good to see you come down to Palm Springs. Looking forward to it. I think where do we see you, Ken? Was it in Orlando or Las Vegas? I can't remember now, but Rainy, birthday today. A June baby too. Okay. Happy birthday, Rainy. And yeah, I'm not gonna ask you how old you are. Okay. What about SPY options during the pre-market? Mr. Hugh, Matt, what about them? So you cannot trade SPY options in pre-market. We look at the market in pre-market because the underlying asset, which is SPY, that's what we have to look at. And the news and the technicals on SPY. We look at all that in pre-market, but options don't trade in pre-market. So we have to wait until 9:30 for the market to open up on that one. Personally, I like it when the market drops in pre-market. I find that the market drops a lot in pre-market. There's a lot of fear in pre-market. What do they say? It's the darkest before dawn. And it seems like there's just a lot of fear in pre-market. Market goes down. A lot of crazy stuff going on in pre-market. But then the buyers come in, they push it up, and there's always seem to be money to be made to the upside after the market opens. I'm really excited about that. So, all right, now let's get to like some more questions here after the survey. Okay. Oh well, lots of comments here. Just bear with me while I. Okay. I like this here. Confiscate Musk's assets to pay off some of the debt. How you just can't do that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a question. Do I think Musk and Trump are going to kiss and make up? Oh, absolutely, absolutely, 100%. They're two very egotistical people. They need to cool down, right? Remember as kids, you're in I don't know, grade school and you're fighting and the teacher says, okay, you stand in that corner, you stand in that corner until you cool off and then you become best friends again, right? Because your ego, then they're egotistical. They're definitely, strong-willed. They both believe in what they believe in. And, oh yeah, they'll get back together because they both need each other, right? They need each other. You cannot, there's a symbiotic relationship between those two. And there's just a little lover spat. Don't- Maybe I shouldn't say it like that. But I'll tell you what kind of irritates me. In the media, you always hear, Trump the most powerful man in the world. Well, maybe he is. Okay, I'll take that. But they say Musk is the richest man in the world. I got news for you. He's not, folks. Elon Musk is not the richest person in the world. Now, I don't know how they measure that or whatever, but uh, there's this thing called the House of Saud. Saud, S-A-U-D. I hope I pronounced that right. The Saudi royal family, in general, is considered to have much larger net worth than Elon Musk's personal wealth. The House of Saud's estimated net worth is around 1.4 trillion, while Elon Musk's net worth is around 374 billion or something. Okay, Google it. Google it. I'm not making this up. Okay. I always knew that some of these sheiks, Arabian sheiks, have so much money. I mean, Musk's wealth is significant, don't get me wrong, but stop saying he's the wealthiest person in the world. And I'm not, anyway, that's kind of irritating. Anyway, that's neither here or there. But what we're going to see here is eventually they'll come around. You got to cool down a little bit. Somebody's gonna give a little bit. Somebody's gonna give a little bit. And somebody's gonna say, "Ah, listen, you know what? Here." And then, maybe I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't even want to predict what's gonna happen. Maybe there'll be a little bit of a compromise in the budget. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. Okay, question: how does the inner circle report indicate how high the market can go each particular day? I don't think we say how high it's necessarily going to go. We do use things, we do use certain key indicators. I know John does look at that, but he'll generally say that he's interested in calls or puts or whatever he'll give you some pretty good information on which way the market is expected to go that day with the information that he has. All right. Question here. I bought 50K in options and SPY. No, 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 no. No, I'm looking to make $50,000. I'm looking to take a $5,000 account and earning $50,000 by trading options by the end of the year is what I'm looking to do. Actually, I'm looking to make a lot more than 50,000, but that's just that is just the benchmark with which I had uh, marked that I want to make on that one. So that's what that is. So, question: do I have a stop loss? Set a stop for like 5%? No, I don't like to use stop losses. I find they don't work with options. The stops will take you out an awful lot. And I mean, there are different ways that we use to control our money management techniques and different things. But I find stops with options on SPY don't really work very well. Don't work very well. So, do we discuss risk to reward ratios? If I look at my logs, the one thing I could change my stop loss and limits that I set. I seem to get too conservative, get stopped out. Yeah, or I take a stop off, it goes past 50% negative. Um, so what we're looking at in these trades is a high probability trade. So we're looking at key indicators, we're looking at fundamentals, and I'm also looking for room to grow, what I call my runway. As a pilot, we like to land on runways, and you want to make sure there's ample room on the runway to roll out and land, which is particularly important, especially if you're flying into farmers' fields on a Saturday morning for breakfast. You want to do a low and over, a pass over the runway to make sure there's no animals basking in the sun. You want to scare them off because if you land on the runway and then all of a sudden a couple hundred feet up there's a coyote and oh my gosh, I'm going to hit the coyote now. There we go. That's not fun for either of you. But so when I look at is when I not just look at the setup, but I want to make sure there's enough room to grow into before I find the next level of resistance or support or whatever. So I look at all these various factors. So these are the things we're looking at, very high probability trades. Then we're looking for modest gains. All right. Modest gains coupled with a high probability trade with ample time. It's pretty much a success for formula. It's not just throwing throwing mud against the wall, hoping some of it sticks. These are very high probability trades, which is why we have a very high success rate. Let me just quote some more questions here before I wrap it up here. Is there a change in the philosophy on the pick rules? I know we had to talk about 40%. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So for the pick of the day, we had a 40% stop loss, like just a stop for those people that really like stops. Well, so, we said things like, well, we said, okay, just, you know what, if you're insistent on using a stop, use a 40% stop on the pick. Um, a while back, it would hit that, but then it would come back. So there were some really wild swings with the options on the pick of the day. So then we said, okay, you know what? Let's just wait to the end of the day and see where it goes. Because so often it would have hit your 40% stop loss, take you out, but then it reverses, goes back, gives you the profit. So then we changed that a little bit. I'm not really sure where the rules, the actual formal rules on that, so I'd have to go back and check. But in the trading room, I know we discuss it a lot. Well, if you're in the pick, it's kind of, going against that, but just hold on. I believe it's going to come down at this level of support, then it's going to reverse, go back up, and usually it does that. It does what we predict it to do. So, but if you go down that path, you'll probably get either the 40% stop loss or the end of the day, or hold it overnight as we predict. All right, folks. I see it's 9:03. I tried to want to keep this sort of brief. So what I'm going to do here is wrap it up. Folks, stick around because at the end of this session, you're going to have the uh, web page that's going to let you subscribe to the trading room. Old famous DayTradeSPY trading room coming up right after this screen here. So, been a pleasure, folks. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Give it all to you and trust the process and keep your eyes on the prize. I can tell you what